Self-help might be the reason your life isn't changing, not because it doesn't work, but because it convinces you it already did. You read books, watch videos, take notes, and somehow feel productive, even when nothing in your life actually changes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That feeling of growth might be the exact thing keeping you stuck right now. Because self-help doesn't just teach growth, it can trick your brain into believing you've already made real progress. And once you believe you're improving, your brain stops pushing you to actually do the uncomfortable work required. It starts innocently. You open a book, watch a video, and suddenly everything makes perfect sense in your head. You feel clarity, motivation, excitement, and it feels like you've unlocked something powerful within yourself already. But here's what's really happening. Your brain is rewarding you for learning, not for executing anything meaningful. That reward is dopamine, and it doesn't care whether you act or not, only that you feel like you've progressed. So you keep consuming, believing each piece of content is moving you closer to becoming the person you want. But in reality, you're stuck in a loop where knowledge replaces action, and only action actually creates results. Let me say this clearly. You're not stuck because you lack discipline. You replaced action with endless consumption. You start believing you're different, more aware, more prepared, yet nothing in your external life reflects that belief. You've read business books, but never started anything, learned habits, but never stayed consistent long enough. And your brain doesn't question it, because it already rewarded you for simply understanding the idea. That's the trap, feeling like progress without actually creating any measurable progress in your real life. I've been there too, consuming endless content, convinced I was improving and becoming better every single day. But when I looked back honestly, I had implemented almost nothing from everything I had learned, yet I still felt ahead of others, as if understanding more somehow meant I had already leveled up. By the way, I'm Marcus. I spend my time observing and decoding patterns like this in real life. If this resonates, consider subscribing for more. That illusion is powerful. It gives you confidence without competence, clarity without execution, and identity without proof. And here's what most people don't realize. This system isn't designed to stop you from feeling good. In fact, it works best when you keep consuming without acting, because consumption is what generates consistent revenue. Books, courses, seminars, they all benefit when you stay learning instead of actually building something real. And this is where it gets deeper. Some systems intentionally use self-help language to pull you in. Words like mindset, growth, freedom. They trigger emotions that make you feel closer to a better life instantly. But often, they're used to sell you something, not to help you build something that actually works. Let me prove it. Think about the last time you felt extremely motivated after watching something powerful. You felt ready, energized, convinced things would change. But what actually happened after that moment faded away? Most of the time, nothing changed. You just carried that temporary motivation until it slowly disappeared again. And here's the moment most people realize something uncomfortable. They weren't changing. They were feeling like they were. They already knew enough, but avoided consistent execution in the right direction over a long enough period. And self-help became emotional fuel that replaced action, making them feel productive without producing real results. Now think about this. How often have you consumed content instead of doing something difficult immediately afterward? That gap between motivation and action is where most dreams quietly disappear without ever becoming reality. Because motivation feels like movement, but it's not. It's just emotional stimulation without physical execution. And your brain doesn't know the difference. It rewards both learning and doing in almost the exact same way. You don't have a productivity problem. You have an avoidance problem disguised as self-improvement most of the time. Over time, this builds a false identity. You see yourself as improving, even when you're not moving forward. And the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to break out of that illusion completely, because now, taking action feels uncomfortable compared to the easy satisfaction of learning something new every day. You start avoiding execution because it exposes the gap between what you know and what you've actually done. And that gap is where reality lives, not in your knowledge, but in your measurable, undeniable results. Knowing what to do is meaningless if you don't act, because life only responds to executed actions, not intentions. You don't become successful by understanding success. You become successful through repeated, uncomfortable execution over time. And here's the shift. Self-help is not the problem. Your relationship with it is the real issue. It's a tool, and like any tool, it can either build something real or keep you distracted indefinitely. The key is simple, but difficult. Consume less, implement more, and measure progress based on actual results. Instead of asking, "What did I learn today?" ask, "What did I actually do today that moved me forward?" That single question forces you out of illusion and into reality, where real growth actually begins. Because growth is not a feeling, it's something you can measure, see, and experience in your life directly. And once you truly understand this, everything about how you approach self-development completely changes. You stop chasing information and start chasing execution, even when it feels uncertain, uncomfortable, and difficult. You realize one implemented idea is worth more than 100 ideas you never act on. And this is where real transformation begins. Not inside your mind, but through consistent, repeated action. Because action creates feedback, feedback creates learning, and learning through doing creates real progress. Not the illusion of progress, the kind that actually changes your life in visible, undeniable ways. So next time you feel motivated after consuming content, pause before doing anything else for a moment. Ask yourself, am I actually moving forward or just feeling like I am right now in this moment? The truth is simple. Knowing without doing is worse than not knowing because it creates dangerous false confidence. If you're not acting, you're not growing. You're just consuming a more productive, socially acceptable form of procrastination.